What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome to Introduction to Branding. This is part one of discovering your brand. There's so much we can definitely cover. But today we're going to get into what is branding, what are things you all can be doing to discover and maybe refine your brand identity a little bit, and the 12 or technically 10, but I'm gonna give you all a little bonus because I have to give the extra. All right. But the 12 questions you can ask your brand and yourself to discover it. So again, here's the little overview. We'll go into some introductions. If you're watching this on the live or the replay, go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. Say where you're from, your name, and maybe one thing that you want to learn today about your brand. But we're gonna get into what is brand, personifying your brand, and then again, the 10 questions to define your brand. But of course, we got to sprinkle in some extra value for y'all. So there's going to be actually 12 questions we have y'all ask. So a long drawn out introduction of myself in case this is your first time interacting with our brand. My name is De'Von Truvel, and I'm not going to make this a long one. That's actually one of my pet peeves when you go to these webinars, when you go to these live workshops. The person talks about 30 minutes, talks about themselves. Now what's going to happen here? But me and my queen, we met at UC Davis back in 2011. We graduated in 2016 and started our first business, True Health Forever. And we kind of made our first commercial product in 2017, which became Black Wall Street, the board game, and has built into the brand of Play Black Wall Street as well. We love what we do as far as trying to promote holistic health within our communities, talking about physical health, spiritual health, economic health, and social health. We have our weekly podcast that we host. She's the health nerd, literally. That's literally the name that she goes by, the health nerd. And she's like really diving into her health coaching and really trying to be a resource and being a resource for folks. I'm more so on the economic and social side, figure out how can I help people build or start their business, but also how can I help people build their habits to just feel comfortable living their best life and in their own skin as well. So that's us in a nutshell. Feel free again to introduce yourselves inside of the chat. And I see my queen's actually here. What's going on, Sinclair? Thanks for tapping in. Want to learn how to set myself apart as a health coach. Love it, love it. As I said, right, the queen is an amazing health coach, but always willing to get better. So I appreciate you being in the space, queen. All right, let's keep it going. So what is a brand? Right, and queen, feel free to answer this in the chat or on mic, whatever you're comfortable. I feel like you're probably working out right now, but what is a brand to you? Right, really think about that. When I think building your brand, I want to have a personal brand. Like brand is kind of like a buzzword that a lot of people say, but I don't know if we have a defined definition on what we're saying when we say that. According to Investopedia, right? According to Investopedia, a brand is a business and marketing concept that helps people pay close attention. It helps people identify a particular company, product, or individual, right? So a brand is a concept or a tool that's going to help other people identify your company, product, or individual. Brands are intangible, which means you can't actually touch them or see them. As such, they help people shape perception of companies, their products, or individuals, right? So a lot of key things that I'm taking away in this Investopedia definition is it's the perception, right? Brand is helping people perceive your company, your product, or individuals, right? Now, y'all know I like to remix my definitions, or maybe y'all don't know. Sinclair said your brand is your identity. I strongly agree with that, right? And you'll see my remix definition of next. I like the remix definitions, one, because it makes it easier for me to remember the definition, right? I'm not going to remember necessarily what this person said, but if I can reword it and make it personal to me, I'm going to remember a little bit better. And then there's a few things that I thought was missing from this definition of brand. So my personal definition is brand, and kind of what the queen was saying. It's the personification of your company, right? And to get even more specific, it's the personification of your company's mission, its vision, its purpose, and values. If you were to put all those amazing words that I'm sure you've written down in your business plan, that you've written down and you're brained up, like when you think about your company, its mission, what it's going to accomplish in 10 years, its core values, right? You've literally built a person on paper. Now what you need to do is you need to put those things into a identity. You need to put those things into a person. Your brand starts in your imagination and can impact the real world, right? How people perceive your brand, how people are able to get the value from your brand can literally change their life and then change the way that they engage with the world. So although, yes, a brand is intangible, it can very much so have tangible impacts. While your brand can develop and adapt, your authentic core brand will not change, right? You may offer online health coaching sessions instead of in person. You may offer NFTs. You may do Bitcoin stuff. You may start doing online classes instead of in-person classes. You may start doing dance classes because people are asking for that. But at its core, who your brand is does not change. It can develop, it can mature just like a person, but who you are doesn't change, okay? So I'm gonna run through it one more time. What I think a brand is, this is from De'Von Truvel, the personification of your company's mission, vision, purpose, and values. Your brand starts in your imagination and can impact the real world. While your brand can develop and adapt, your authentic core brand will not change. All right. I'm definitely open to some debates. Feel free if y'all have some different tweaks, remixes that you would put in your definition of a brand. Go ahead and put it in the chat, put it in the comments if you're on the replay. Let's develop the best definition, the best working definition of brand that we possibly can to be able to help other people for generations to come. Okay. So let's keep it going. Now, I said your brand is a person. All right, let me take a sip of my tea. We're doing this at 7 a.m. California time. If you're watching this on the replay, you know, hopefully you gotten some beautiful sleep. Let us know what city you're representing inside the chat. Would love to know. But your company, your brand is literally a separate person, right? You should think of it as such. And maybe you're not at the point where you can start it off as a completely separate person yet. Maybe you're in the sole proprietor stage where your brand technically, when it comes to the IRS and tax purposes, is you. That's fine. But as you're building your business, you should build it to be a separate person from yourself, which means your business should have a mailing address, right? Just like you as a person have a mailing address, your business is also set up with a mailing address. Your business should have a bank account, right? You have access to your personal money as De'Von, and then you have access to your brand money as True Health Forever, as Playback Wall Street, as Sinclair the Health Nerd, right? You should have a bank account for that company, for that entity. Your business, your brand has a federal ID number, right? You have your social security number. Your brand has its EIN number, employee identification number. This is how the government knows when your company is going for a house, a credit card, trying to buy a car, is paying taxes. It's by that EIN number, right? Your business also has a credit score, right? You have your amazing credit score. Your business also has a credit score, which you need to set up by getting it a DUNS number, Duns and Bradstreet number. Okay. So literally your brand is a separate person. So when you're thinking about how your brand's walking in the world, how people are perceiving it, yes, sometimes it can be kind of intermingled with you as a person, right? Especially starting off, but eventually it will have a complete life of its own. And so it needs its own characteristics, its own personalities, its own address, its own money, right? It needs its own life set up for it. Just remember that as you're building your business. Now, before we get into the 12 questions, definitely want to give you all a reminder. If you're not following us on Instagram already, go ahead and go to Play Black Wall Street on Instagram. Follow us. We give some inspirational quotes on there. We give some business knowledge as usual, and we try to highlight our communities while, of course, giving you our own journey. And by following us, you're also able to kind of see our own brand and experience our own brand voice to help you build your own. We're also on YouTube, which if you're watching on the replay, you're probably already on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and like and subscribe. We are a family-friendly YouTube channel where we give you history information, business, entrepreneurship, good for you and for maybe other people in your life, like your kids or your friends. So make sure you like and subscribe to this video. We appreciate you. So now let's get into the questions. Feel free, if you are watching this, make sure like have a notepad ready or have your phone ready, your laptop, and let's answer some of these questions live, right? And maybe this isn't going to be the definitive answer to your questions, right? You can answer them now and then maybe revisit it in a week, 2 weeks, and see if these are still true for you. These are the light questions. Consider this you're on your first date with your brand, right? You're just getting to know them. It's light. Not too serious, right? You just want to know the basics. So number one question that I think a lot of people usually ask, I don't know if the male will ask this, but I feel like you would get this on the profile if you're swiping left, swiping right, all that good stuff. How old is your brand? Right? Real basic. How old is your brand? Is your brand a child? Is it 8, 9, 10, teenager? Is your brand in its early 20s, right? Maybe it's trying to live a fun lifestyle. Is your brand in its early 40s? Maybe it's a little bit more grown, right? A little bit more mature, maybe a kid or two around, right? Is your brand in its 60s, right? Lived a little bit of life, has some wisdom. Is your brand 105, right? Lived a lot of life, have a lot of wisdom, right? Think about how old is your brand. For us, Play Black Wall Street is a youthful spirit. So our brand is about 12 years old, right? It's a 12-year-old melanated young boy. For number two, where does your brand live, right? Where are you from, right? Are you from Japan? Are you from Texas? Are you from New York, Canada, Jamaica? Where is your brand from? For us, our brand is from California with family roots in the South, all right? Number three, right? Playful, fun. What is your brand's favorite movie? Right? If you were going to chill with your brand, right? Or your brand was having a fun day, it just wanted to relax, it just wanted to chill and recharge, what movie would your brand watch? And what are some of the lessons? Like why does your brand like that movie? For us, our brand would be all over Black Panther and would be all over Harry Potter, right? Love the idea of adventure, love the idea of being a hero and working together in a team. All those things are things that our brand appreciates. So we got a question in here. So you don't mean physically how old your company is, you mean how old would you want it to be perceived? Exactly. Right. So not how long has your company been in creation? Because I mean, the answer is going to be pretty much the same for all of us, right? It's going to be a year, 2 years, 3 years. And then by the time you get it to be 40 years down the road, that a lot of time has passed. So I mean, like right now, in the perception of who your brand is, its values, how it speaks to the world, how old is your brand? If it was a person today, all right, so not when was it established? Great follow-up question. Not when it was established. How old is the perception of your brand? Great stuff. Keep the questions going. Yes, so what is your brand's favorite movie? Number 4, what's your brand's voice? I think this kind of helps with the how old is your brand, right? Is your brand kind of a little bit comedic, right? Is it funny? Is your brand serious? Is your brand all about statistics and numbers, right? Is your brand that authoritative voice in the market? Is your brand maybe a little bit satirical, right? It loves satire, the dry humor is in there, maybe a little bit of politics, right? What is your brand's voice? For us, as most of y'all probably know, our brand's voice is positivity, optimism, hopefulness to a fault, and just like that children's spirit, that children joy is definitely our brand voice. When you're following us on social media, when you're watching our videos, like that's kind of the frequency you're going to see amongst all our content. All right, so for you, what is that common denominator, frequency, or tone that your brand has? Okay. Number 5, I want my brand to feel like a sister to sister conversation. I like that. So sister to sister at what age? Right? There's an 8-year-old talking to another 8-year-old. There's 2 teenagers talking, which sounds very different, I think, than maybe 2 40-year-old sisters talking. So I like the sister to sister conversation, but now dive into, okay, but how old is each sister? Is it an older sister to a younger sister? Is it a younger sister to an older sister? Are they twins? There's so many questions. 30 to 40 years old. Okay, so that means that they have a little bit of wisdom to them. Beautiful. And is it a younger sister talking to an older sister, or an older sister talking to a younger sister? I think that also impacts the dynamic of the conversation, right? Of the tone. So feel free to put that in there when you think about it. Number 5, what is your brand's favorite color? All right. What is your brand's favorite color? For us, Play Black Wall Street, brand's favorite color is red. All right. And I want to put in here, all of these questions, while they may be entangled with your own identity, they don't have to be 100% based on you, right? There were some things in here that were kind of very similar to me, but when we got to the color, my favorite color is blue. Play Black Wall Street's favorite color is red, completely different. So yes, some of these will be very similar to you because your brand and you're creating it. It's literally a part of you, but it's not all of you. So as you're building out your brand, just, don't be afraid to maybe kind of veer a little bit away from your own personal identity and really make sure that this brand is standing on its own legs. And then in the comment, the queen said, older to younger sister. I think even though I may be younger than most of my clients, I want the brand to feel like an older sister, to your point. Beautiful. Perfect. So as you're making your videos, right? So now when you're talking to your younger sister, right? As you're writing your blogs, as you're creating your content on social media, you now know I'm making this content for my younger sister. And I think that gives a whole new motivation, but also a different spirit to when you're talking, right? So now every time you're in front of this camera, literally you're speaking to your imaginary little sister. Love it. Last one. How does your brand work with others? How does it work with others? How does it teach others? How does it collaborate on projects with other people? Right. So our brand is kind of a go-getter. It loves working with other people. It loves collaborating. It's one of those brands that is going to bring the energy and pull energy out of other people as well. That's our brand. Okay. So these are the light questions. First date with your brand, go ahead and sit down, get yourself some tea, coffee, whatever else you might be sipping on, and then just go ahead and answer these 6 questions about your brand. Okay. Now, when things start to get a little serious, right? When you think about asking that question, or maybe you want to introduce your brand to your best friend, your parents, right? Now you might want to have some deeper answers ready, right? Just like if you were bringing somebody home, that your parents are probably going to grill them a little bit, they're going to grill you a little bit. You want to have these answers prepared for those serious conversations, all right? So number 1, why does your brand want to be successful? And what even is success for your brand, right? But what is your brand's motivation when it comes to doing this work, when it comes to waking up early, when it comes to putting out this content, when it comes to talking to all the little sisters out there in the world? What is motivating your brand to be successful? So let me go to our answers. I want to make sure I say them correctly. Boop, boop, boop. So for us, we want to, one, he wants to make his parents proud. He wants to live a great life. And success to Play Black Wall Street is being able to take the ideas in his head and make them a reality while also getting paid. And also success is being willing to live up to his full potential, right? Being willing to live up to his full potential. Those are things that are success for our brand, the things that are motivating our brand internally. All right. Number two, what is your brand afraid of? A deep dive time, right? You got to answer these questions. You cannot avoid these questions when you're building up yourself, when you're learning about yourself. These are questions you have to ask, and maybe you're going to come to some realizations as you're discovering your brand. You may also accidentally discover yourself in the process, and that's great. That's exactly what this process is for. Okay. So what are you, or what is your brand afraid of? So for us, Play Black Wall Street is a little fearful of embarrassing himself, right? Saying the wrong things, not knowing all the information that he needs to know, afraid of being wrong in the market, right? Telling some wrong information, not living up to his full potential, and disappointing himself and his parents, right? Not living up to his full potential and disappointing himself and his parents. What are you afraid of, or what is your brand afraid of when they're out there in the market? Okay. Now, let's lighten it up a little bit. We may have lost some folks right there, like, oh, they getting too serious. Click. All good. Let's get back to some fun stuff. What does your brand like to do for fun? All right. When it's not working, when it's not blogging, when it's not creating videos, when it's not posting on social media, when it's not doing all the crazy, amazing brand stuff that it's doing, what does your brand is like to do for itself, for fun, to recharge? Now, for us, our brand likes to watch movies, right? So we may have a nice Harry Potter marathon. We may watch The Great Debaters. We may watch some Marvel, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all that good stuff, right? Our brand definitely likes to watch movies or watch content. Our brand likes to play basketball, right? Just have fun, play some ball, right? Light stuff. Our brand likes to eat food. Eat some good food. That should be on everybody's list. Eat some delicious food. Lastly, our brand likes playing games, not necessarily to recharge playing the game that our brand created, because sometimes that can be a little bit stressful because you're thinking, okay, are people judging the game the whole time? They're asking questions. You got to know all the answers to them. So maybe not playing the game that you created, but playing games in general is something that is recharging for the brand. All right. So think about, for yourself or for your brand specifically, what are things that your brand likes to do for fun? Right. And then when you think of things that your brand likes to do for fun, these can be things that your brand turns into business things, right? These can be things that your brand turns into maybe charitable events, right? If the brand likes playing basketball, maybe now through Play Black Wall Street, there's a basketball tournament where fundraisers are happening, and thousands of dollars are being raised for scholarships or for book supplies. If we know the brand likes eating food, maybe there's some type of food tour or hot dog eating tournament. We wouldn't do a hot dog eating tournament, but if some type of food related event that's, again, meshing what the brand likes to do for fun, to recharge, and also what the brand does to maybe give back, right? So definitely think about what those things are that your brand likes to do for fun. Now, getting back into the seriousness, what are your brand strengths? All right, again, your brand's a person. Your brand is a personification of your company's mission, vision, and values. So what are your brand's strengths? See, Sinclair in here said, my brand likes to cook and eat. Yep. Listen, the worst is doing all the cooking and then you don't get to do none of the eating. Oh, painful. Hasn't happened to me, but well, no, it has. Painful. So your brand likes to cook. Love it. I think that can easily be folded into health coaching easily be folded into fun events that you do for your brand for sure. Okay. And the eating part for sure. What are your brand strengths, right? So our brand, personable, right? Likes people. Our brand is creative, is very good at solving problems, very good at kind of putting different pieces together, putting different people together to solve problems or to create new things. And then, of course, our brand is positive, right? Has that optimism, has that positive energy. Those are some of our brand strengths. Definitely think about for you, what are your brand strengths? What are your brand weaknesses, right? There's always two sides to the coin. What are your brand weaknesses? For us, Play Black Wall Street, lack of experience, right? Our brand is 12 years old in this imaginary place. It's 3 years old in real life. So there's still some things that it needs to learn in both sides. It needs to gain a little bit more experience. A little bit unorganized, right? And we're getting a little bit better at this now. We've been more intentional now that we've identified it. But before on social media, we were just posting like a whole bunch of different stuff, right? Now we have a kind of set rhythm of what we're posting. We know why we're posting the things that we're posting. We want to inspire people. We want to educate people. We want to expose people to our brand and other brands in the community. So now our posts and our grid look very organized. Before, naturally, that was not the case, right? And then lastly, kind of in line with unorganized is lack of consistency, right? Because our brand is so creative, because our brand likes to do so many things, sometimes it doesn't do a few things for a long time. And that's something that's very important for establishing your brand's identity with other people, is they need to see your brand doing the same stuff over and over again for them to recognize, oh yeah, that's Play Black Wall Street. They do that every week. Or, oh yeah, that's the health nurse. She does that every month. Or, oh yeah, that's Canon. They always, right? So although you know who your brand is, the world still needs to get to know who your brand is. And you do that through being consistent with your brand actions. So writing down your brand weaknesses are a great way to know what you might want to start focusing on for next year, right? If you're watching this live or briefly after the recording, right, we're in the fall end of 2021. 2022 is right around the corner. You may be watching this video in 2025, right? But you should be always looking to make slight improvements to your brand, to your business. So if you write down your weaknesses, pick maybe one or two of those to really zoom in and focus on for the next year and make that thing a strength coming next year, right? So something that Play Black Wall Street we're going to focus on is the unorganized, right? We've dipped and dabbled in it for 2021, but in 2022 we really want to conquer the ability to be organized with our brand. And lack of experience, I think, is kind of taking care of itself naturally. So lack of consistency we'll also dive into. So for you, go ahead and put your brand weaknesses inside the chat or in the comments and how you are going to make it into a strength next year. Lastly, it may seem like the easiest part, but I think it may also take you a while to find a good, authentic name for your brand. And this isn't the name that is the company, right? So Play Black Wall Street could be the name of the brand or the company. True Health Forever, the name of the brand or the company. But when you think about your brand as a person, if you were to type in your mission, your vision, all these answers to the questions into a 3D printer, and it was to print out a person, and then that person was standing right there, you wouldn't say, hey, Play Black Wall Street. No, you would, like, it would give it a person name. So think about what name embodies everything that represents your company and your brand. And maybe think of this as the spokesperson of your company. Like, you know how Progressive, when you think of Progressive, what name do you think of? Automatically, Progressive. You think of Flow, right? That is literally the person that personifies what Progressive stands for. And they've done an amazing job at doing that. So for you, when people think of Play Black Wall Street, who is the spokesperson? Who is that caricature? Who is that personification of what your company represents? Okay, we got brand weaknesses in here. Brand weakness is overthinking, going to work on this by taking action. Love it. Love it. Okay, so our brand's name is Rodney Robinson the Third. All right, Rodney Robinson the Third is a 12-year-old child who has two generations of Rodney Robinsons before him. So he feels the pressure of being great. He feels the pressure of wanting to build a legacy for himself, but that also pays respect to the legacies before him, right? Rodney Robinson III is something that I think really embodies everything that Play Black Wall Street has to offer and represent. So for you, think about what is your brand's name? And as your brand's talking to people, right? Who's talking back? All that good stuff. All right. So those are the 12 questions. I'll go through them really quickly one more time. How old is your brand? Where does your brand live? What's your brand's favorite movie? What is your brand's voice? What is your brand's favorite color? How does your brand work with others, good or bad? The deep questions: why does your brand want to be successful? What is your brand afraid of? What does your brand do for fun, to recharge? What are your brand strengths? What are your brand weaknesses? And then lastly, what is your brand's name? All right. So the brand name is not the name of the company, but the name of the personification of the brand. Correct. Is this shared publicly? Is what shared? Oh, the brand name. It can be depending on your marketing strategy, right? So Rodney Robinson, right? Eventually, Play Black Wall Street can hire a child actor to now represent Play Black Wall Street in commercials. And when that actor gets hired, their role will be, your role is playing Rodney Robinson III. So it'll be a little 12-year-old kid. Hi, I'm Rodney Robinson III, and I love Play Black Wall Street because right? They're representing the brand. They're literally a personification of the brand. Or you can have like little emoji animated characters, right, that represent the brand. There's tons of different ways that you can do it. It can be shared publicly. It doesn't have to be shared publicly, but it can. And yes, it is the name that is separate from the company, just like Progressive and Flow. Those are two different entities, yet Flow represents Progressive, right? I don't even know if Flow switched to State Farm, right? It would be like, what? That's not Jake. That's Flow. Something's wrong here, right? State Farm is Jake. Progressive is Flow. Like, we have literal names for these different businesses, right? Jack in the Box, Jack. McDonald's, Ronald McDonald, right? It's a name. It's a real quote unquote person. These flows. It's actually really funny. But yeah, come up with your brand name. Now, next steps, definitely make sure you answer these 12 questions. All right. Again, hopefully you had time to write them down. You can definitely rewind, go back and rewatch this video, but answer these 12 questions and be intentional about answering these 12 questions, right? Answer them all, and then maybe take a week, come back and see if you still agree with those 12 questions. Step number 2, if you are a scholar and you want to keep learning about this type of stuff or other things, we do have an academy available for all of our students. I'll put the link inside of the chat. And if you're watching on the replay, I'll make sure to also put it inside of the comments. But for $1, you can literally start learning about stuff like this. And then every single month, you will become a member of IMI, Institute of Melanated Innovation. This is also great for your scholars. So if you have young ones, if you have 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 18-year-olds that also want to learn about business, about branding, about how to start their business, they can also enroll today for $1. And maybe more so for you, right? This next one may be more so for you. If you are interested in launching your business or growing your business, identifying your brand, and maybe you need just a little bit of support. You just need a little bit of help to get you there, maybe a little bit of positivity, a little bit of accountability, we got your back. You can go ahead and reach out to us at coaching@playblackwallstreet.com, and we will get with you and create a personalized plan just for you to make sure you are launching successfully and starting off strong. Again, make sure you grow with us. Stay connected on social media at Play Black Wall Street. Like and subscribe to our Play Black Wall Street YouTube channel, where we give out amazing free content that's going to empower you and help you grow that business and become that eventual millionaire, billionaire. All right, let's do that together. And then if you haven't gotten your game yet, we got you. PlayBlackWallStreet.com. You can get your game. Now, I understand that some folks may not have gone to the first workshop where we went over the 7 steps to launch your business, right? So I want to go over these very briefly. Let's see, how much time do we have? Let me look at the calendar. Okay, we got some time. All right, so I'm gonna go over these briefly just to give it just a little bit more value, right? So again, step 1 in launching your business is to define the problem, right? Entrepreneurship at its core is problem solving. So your brand as a person, what are they passionate about? What problem are they trying to solve? All right. Step number 2, and sorry, for step number 1, this can be a problem that you have personally. This can be a problem that you see other people having. This can be a problem your loved ones have. All right. So just identify some of those core problems, write those down. And you write 2, 3, 4 down, and then we'll work from there. Step 2, discover your unique gift or perspective, right? What makes you unique? And don't say that. Don't say you don't have a gift. Don't say you're not unique. Literally, there is no other person in this universe on this planet that was made just like you, that thinks just like you. Even if you have a twin, you are still uniquely you. So figure out, what is your gift? Is it cooking? Is it a positive mindset? Is it a negative mindset? Is it a, I love fitness and I love running? Is it, I love food, I love cooking, I'm great in front of the camera, I can make beautiful presentations, I love playing video games, I love watching movies? Literally, what is it that you love to do? Or how is it that you see the world differently than other people, right? Your perspective. It can be your religion, your gender, your ethnic background, your culture, things that you love to do, things that you don't like to do. All of that informs how you engage and perceive the world. So for me, unique gift was 1, I love playing games and I have a positive energy, positive mindset. And my perspective was, I didn't like to read growing up, right? Reading was not my forte, right? So although I'm not good at reading, it's helped me inform how I see the world to give or get the most information while reading the least amount of words as possible, right? So again, things that you don't like to do or things that you don't do well can still help you build your business, build your brand. Step number 3, define your audience. Who has the problem that you stated in step number 4? Who are you talking to? Who are you serving in the world, in the community? And try to be as specific as possible. Where do they live? How old are they? Where do they work? Right? How long have they had that problem? What other solutions have they tried to solve the problem? Right? The more you can identify the audience, the more impact your marketing and your product will have in the future, right? Funny story. We actually, I put this on Instagram, like, do people want to do a branding workshop or a customer avatar workshop? It was unanimous. No one picked customer avatar because I don't know if people know what it is. But customer avatar is almost the same process that we did today for brand. You would do that same process to determine who your customer is, right? How old are they? What's their favorite color? What do they do for fun? Why do they want to be successful? What are they afraid of? And that's going to build who your customer is. You would give that customer a name. And then as you're making your videos, again, you know exactly who you're talking to when you're making the video. So we'll do another workshop on customer avatar and how to define your audience, but that just gives you a slight sneak peek into what it might be. Step 4, now you want to develop your product or your service, right? So you know who you're talking to, you know what unique gift you're going to use, or your unique perspective you're going to use. You know what problem you are solving. Now you need to combine these 3 elements, right? Fusion. Shout out to my Dragon Ball Z fans. But you need to combine these 3 elements into your product, right? And in case you're wondering what these kind of notes are in the below, in our first workshop, we did go over the 5 reasons why Forbes says most businesses fail, right? So each of these steps is addressing 1 or 2 of the reasons why most businesses fail, right? So these are very intentional steps. So for step 4, this is addressing your connection with the audience, your unique value proposition, and how you communicate your unique value proposition. All right. So now going on to step 5, my semi-favorite one is creating your MVP, minimum viable product, your MVP. So you've said in step 4 what the product is, and maybe you dreamed a little bit. Maybe you're like, I'm gonna do this week-long retreat in Bora Bora. There's going to be massages every single day. There's going to be yoga instruction every day. I'm going to have a personal chef that flies out from Jamaica, and they're going to cook all holistic food. Beautiful. That's your product. That's your end goal. Now, in step 5, how do you make that real next week? Right? Maybe step 4, you said, I want to build a board game. I'm going to do it based on Tulsa's Black Wall Street. I want people to learn about how to build a business. I want them to be able to learn about the importance of ownership and money management while also learning Black history. And it's going to be great. Families going to play this all around the world. Beautiful. You said that in step 4. In step 5, how do you do that next week? Right? And step 5 is not about creating the vision in its entirety, but it is about taking that first tangible step forward and making it real as soon as possible for as little money as possible with what you have access to today. Okay, minimum viable product. This is just a step forward to let you know that, okay, this idea that I have in my head can happen. It can be real. You then can take this MVP and get some customer validation, right? Hey, I got this idea. This is how it works. You give it to them. They're able to test it out a little bit. And they're like, okay, I like this, but I think you can do this a little bit better. Beautiful. You then go back to the lab and you change your MVP now to maybe a version 1 or a draft 1, right? And every time you get better and better. Make sure you are creating your MVP. For even the book that we're writing right now, which is going to be a bestseller, we created chapters and we gave out free chapters of the book, right? So if you've registered for this, you've probably already received the free chapter. Hopefully you've read that free chapter because it was definitely provided to you multiple times. I hope you read it. Read the chapter, all right? But those are our kind of MVPs. These workshops are also semi MVPs for the book that we're writing. If we do stuff on branding and people are asking certain questions, we know those are the questions we need to answer in the book, right? If we're doing this workshop and people aren't interested in a certain topic, okay, maybe we can take out that chapter in the book because people really aren't feeling customer avatar, right? So create your MVP because it will save you time down the line. Step number 6, discover your business model. How will your business make money? Where are you sourcing your materials from? How much does it cost to source your materials? And who are your customers in the sense of earlier we went over different business models, right? So there's business to customer. This means you sell your products, you sell your services to one-on-one customers, right? Think of a McDonald's, a Play Black Wall Street, an Amazon, right? They're selling usually directly to the consumer. There's also business to business, B2B. You're selling to large corporations, right? So if Play Black Wall Street sells 100 games to El Camino Real High School, that's a business to business transaction. If Sinclair, the health nerd, does health coaching for Howard University School of Law, right? So where she comes in one time and she trains the entire department at a school, that's business to business, right? Next is subscription, right? That means that you're paying every single month for a product or for a service. That's Disney Plus, that's Netflix, that's HelloFresh, that's Spotify, all those things where you're paying every single month for access to a service or a product. All right. That also is health coaching, right? You pay your $100, your $500, your $1,000 every single month, and you're expecting a service or a product in return from your amazing health coach. Okay. Step number 5, or business model number 4, actually, freemium. This is you give some information away for free, you give some products away for free, but if you want the good stuff, right? If you want the high quality, if you want the premium access, you're going to pay for that premium access. You can think of that as like a YouTube, right? You can use YouTube for free. You'll watch ads, you'll have some access, but if you want to avoid those ads, if you want to be able to download videos, if you want to be able to download music, you need to pay for YouTube, right? That is a freemium model. Our academy, Play Black Wall Street Academy, is a freemium model, right? We give some stuff away for free on YouTube, but if you want the study guides, if you want the access, if you want the study groups, you're going to go ahead and pay for the monthly course, right? So think of freemium as a given, maybe a sample away for free, kind of like at Costco. But if you want the real stuff, you got to pay for it. And then lastly, there's the user generated business model, right? This means you are kind of providing a platform for users to come in, like almost all social media companies. And as the users create content, as the users generate content, comments, pictures, videos, that is creating the value for your business, right? Not you creating all the content, but it's all the users that you empower to create the content. So those are the 5 different business models. Think about which one makes sense for you. You can blend probably 2. I would say you want to maybe focus on a tops 2 though. Right? Don't, in your first year, in your first 2 years, don't get creative and do all, I'm going to be a business to business and a business to customer, and I'm also going to do freemium, but I'm also going to create content. Then you're just going to be doing a lot. Trust me, I've been there. Let's focus on 2 core ones, right? Are you a business to customer, or are you a business to business? And then are you going to use a freemium model, subscription model, or user generated model, right? One of those. Last step. And you can see, I like naming things after I have all the information. Some people would like to give the brand a name first and then they do all these other things. But I've learned from experience and loss that you want to develop the brand in full context of everything else that you're doing. Okay. So the very last step, after you define your problem, after you've understood what your unique gift is and your unique perspective, after you know specifically who you are talking to in the market and what product or service you are offering to them, now you develop what is your brand name for the company. Okay. Those are the 7 steps to launch. I'm going to pause and see if there are any questions about branding, about the 7 steps. It can be a random question as well. Feel free to put that in the chat, unmute. If you're watching this on the replay, feel free to put those in the comments as well, and we'll make sure to come back and answer those questions. Okay, I'm gonna let that marinate while I sip my tea. No, good to go. Beautiful. Oh, nope, spoke too soon. Which step do you think is the most important? Hmm. Hmm. Excellent. Excellent question. This is a tough one. Most important. So I'm going to, ooh, it's a tough one. Most important? I don't know. I'm going to give two answers to say I really can't figure it out. But I really feel like step one, defining the problem, is very close to being the most important one, because that is kind of what is going to guide everything else. And that's also what is going to kind of be your company, your brand's motivation, right? Like when you think of why Tesla was created by Elon Musk, it was created to create a world that's not dependent on gasoline and create a world that can be sustainable with electric energy, right? And that why that problem that they're trying to solve helps them go into all these other different entities. It helps them create the Boring Company. It helps them create the Tesla car. It helps them go to outer space. It helps them create Starlink. It helps them do all these other things that are all connected to solving the same problem. So I really feel like doing step one well and defining the specific problem that you are really passionate about solving for the rest of your life through this company, through this entity as your partner, I think that is the most important. Because your unique gift, that was going to actually be my second one, but I feel like that can change and that can develop differently, right? As you're going through different stages in your life, you may develop different gifts. You may create different perspectives or experience different perspectives that now help you solve the problem that you set out to solve even better. Even your audience can technically change over time as well. I guess Play Black Wall Street starts off with our audience being black families with kids 8 and up. As those kids get exposed to the game and grow up, now our audience is also growing up and changing, and we might kind of change our product, our service to grow with them. But the problem that we're trying to solve is still financial literacy, is still building wealth, and is still educating people on Black history. But that may change how we do it based on our audience growing and developing. So yeah, no, I'm gonna go with number one. Define the problem, define it well, and make sure you are passionate about it. I think that is the most important step. It's my answer. I'm sticking to it. More questions. Feel free to keep them coming. All right. So again, your homework, while people may be marinating on more questions, your homework is to answer the 12 questions. 100%. You need to be answering those 12 questions in regards to your brand, right? You also need to be going through these 7 steps to launch your business. If you have not already, go through these 7 steps for yourself, right? Follow us on social media, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to keep doing webinars just like this every other week until the end of the year, right? So you have maybe three more solid live webinars that we're going to do. And this is all, again, in preparation for our book, launch it. I'll also put, I don't want to put that link too publicly because I don't want it to be spammed. But if you want that link, go ahead and put a comment or email us at coaching@playblackwallstreet.com. It's a quick 4 to 7 minute survey that we're giving our starting entrepreneurs to gather information, also to get to know what is it that you're afraid of when it comes to being an entrepreneur. What is it that's getting in your way, and how can this book solve some of those problems? So if you're interested in helping us write a best-selling book, if you want to be a part of writing a best-selling book, go ahead and email coaching@playblackwallstreet.com, and we will make sure we send you that short form. No strings attached. We're just going to send you that form. And by also completing that form, you're going to get invited to all the other free events and get all the recordings that we have as well. So definitely make sure you go ahead and tap into that. All right. So beautiful people, listen, y'all have been brilliant. I believe that you are going to take these steps. And when you take these steps, you will build a lasting legacy for your business, for your family, and for yourself. All right. Much love, y'all. Please make sure y'all stay healthy, stay mentally wealthy, and of course, make sure y'all stay true. Peace.